morning. Happy Thursday, and welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Kristina Behr.
And I'm Cara Falco. Today is Thursday, September 29th. Here's what we've got in the show for you today. We'll take a look back at the life and career of former Governor Jim Florio, who passed away earlier this week. Our own Laura Jones is going to be here with us in just a minute to talk about him.
And why the New Jersey Transit Police held an emergency drill in Red Bank.
But first, we get a check of that New Jersey weather with meteorologist Mike Favetta. Hey, good morning, Mike. We look like we may have a hurricane on the way. Does that look like it's going to be impacting New Jersey?
The remnants of one, and they will likely bring some very heavy rain to New Jersey as soon as Saturday. So yeah, we've got some much needed rain. This will be beneficial rain to the state. Obviously, we don't want it all at once, but with tropical moisture, tend to get a little bit of that heavy rainfall coming in. A look outside right now. This is the last half hour or so of the infrared radar, satellite rather, and that's showing all of the outflow there and the circulation from Ian as it's moving right now along the eastern coast of Florida. So there's the east coast of Florida, there on the eastern peninsula, and you can see the storm moving quickly down to the east. The track has this system moving quickly off into the offshore area, let's say the coastal Atlantic area, and then coming back in, making another landfall right there towards South Carolina. So it's a storm that just won't quit, likely picks up a little bit more moisture and maintains a very strong tropical storm intensity as it works inland. Beyond that, we'll likely see a little bit of wet weather our way once we get into the end of this weekend. So the forecast here for New Jersey has temperatures that climb into the mid-60s today. It's a refreshing feel across New Jersey, plenty of sunshine to enjoy, but then we see those clouds return by later on in the afternoon, and with that cloud cover, temperatures will feel, I think, a little bit cooler through the end of the day. Those clouds, by the end of today, are due to Ian. It's the outer bands that will be working their way north, and then we see the rain come in as soon as Saturday morning. We'll give you all the details coming up with another check of your forecast for New Jersey. It's in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Well, let's check in on the roads and the rails now with Don Smith. Don, how are we looking so far?
Yeah, good morning, Kristina. Good morning, Cara. Nice to see you back there hosting with Kristina. And good morning, Mike. Yeah, it's been a busy, very busy morning across our Garden State. Let's go to our incident page, and we're still tracking this problem in Robbinsville along the turnpike. It's the truck lanes here going south. It's an overturned dump truck, and this has been out there since probably about 6 o'clock this morning. So it's just before 195. Your left lane is going to be shut down. That's, again, in the truck lanes or the outer roadway. That is still being cleared. Also, Route 3 is still cleaning up a crash here westbound, just west of Route 21 in Clifton, so a little bit of a tie up there. And then this is new here on the western spur, although it's off to the shoulder. It's going to be north of 15W and 280. We have a crash there in Kearney that is still being worked on. Let's go to the map. So you see the delay here, and it's been fairly consistent over the last hour or so, heading south here. So if you can stay with the inner roadway, the car lanes will be a better ride, especially getting in from Interchange 8 off of Route 33 is going to be the little bit easier ride. Again, if you need to make your way further south. We widen up the map, and the parkway is a little busy in Lakewood. Voorhees, Mount Laurel, 295, 130 is fine. 55 has actually cleared it out fairly nicely. Still a little congestion right at the 42 interchange, but other than that, the rest of South Jersey is in good shape. As we head further to the north, we start to see a lot more red. 287 still fairly busy, though, easing out here in South Plainfield. And east on 78 has also been another real trouble spot all morning long. There was an earlier fuel spill just east of exit 26, and that's on the shoulder. That's still being cleared, so that's why we're seeing delays back to exit 24. Route 24 is still fairly heavy out to Short Hills, and then 80 getting into Parsippany is fairly busy. 208 is a solid ride here this morning, getting out towards the Paramus area. And again, there are the delays for your westbound side of Route 3. Let's take a look at our Hudson River crossings this morning. We're still well over an hour here at both the Lincoln and the George. About 25 or so at the Holland Tunnel and New Jersey Transit. Early this morning we had some issues on the corridor that's operating a full schedule, but still just give yourself about an extra 20 minutes in both directions. That's just happening here in a busy traffic center. Cara, Kristina, send it back into you.
In just a little bit. All right, thanks. Our top story this week, of course, is Jim Florio, former governor of New Jersey. He died earlier this week at the age of 85. And joining us now is On New Jersey's Laura Jones to talk about his life and career. And I know, Laura, you had a personal connection to him as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Covered him. He came on my show multiple times. And, in general, he was a lifelong public servant who also served as congressman and state assemblyman. He was a veteran of the Navy, also an amateur boxer. Leaders around the state were immediately reacting. Governor Phil Murphy said Governor Florio was a fighter who never backed down. He was a leader who cared more about the future of New Jersey than his own political fortunes. And he was also a friend whose kind counsel was invaluable to me and countless others across our state. Now, Jim Florio was first elected to state office in the late 1960s in Camden County. Then he was elected in 1974 to Congress. Now, he's the author of the Superfund legislation, which was aimed at cleaning up some of the country's most polluted sites. Then in 1989, that's when he was elected governor, and that was during an extremely tough financial time in the state of New Jersey, and he was forced to raise taxes over $2 billion. And that decision is what cost him re-election, but he stood by his principles. And we are learning that a memorial service will be held on Monday at Camden County College in Blackwood, and that is open to the public. Anybody who wants to come can attend that memorial service on Monday at 2 o'clock. Cara?
Wow. So, Laura, you covered many New Jersey governors as a reporter. What specifically do you remember about Jim Florio as governor?
Oh, I think he was so gracious with his time. And no matter how many people, as reporters, we get kind of used to interviewing high profile people, but there's always a part inside me that gets a little anxious in a positive way. It's, oh, wow, I'm going to be speaking to a governor. And especially, Jim Florio, I get a little nervous before I got to know him. But he was so kind, so gracious. And one of the times I had such an interesting insight was after he ran and lost a primary in 2000 when he ran for U.S. Senate. He was running against John Corzine, simply outspent. John Corzine went on to be U.S. Senator and then, of course, governor. But after he lost that election, he invited me and a camera into his home, and I spent hours there, not just conducting the interview, but talking to him, talking to his wife, and he showed me his garden. I'd heard about him and his gardening, and he loved to grow tomatoes, and to see this side of him and to see how gracious he was, even though he had lost, and to spend so much time, he really was generous, and he loved the state. He loved, very, very passionate about the issues that he believed in. He signed the assault weapons ban as governor. And again, he didn't want to raise taxes, but he did raise taxes because, it was the thing that needed to be done. And so, yeah, I'll remember going to his home and spending those hours. We talked about what TV shows he liked. He liked Seinfeld. Although he pronounced it Steinfeld, I didn't want to correct him on it. And then I asked him, after he had lost this high-profile race, a former governor going up against John Corzine, which at that time, he was just the guy from Goldman Sachs that was very, very wealthy. What did you do after you lost this primary? He said, I went with my wife to go watch Gladiator with Russell Crowe. And he said, I was in that movie made me feel good about, even though that he lost that race, it made him feel, that there was still honor in what he had done and what he had run for, and he didn't have regrets.
Wow. I mean, it's always interesting to hear the personal side of these politicians, because you forget sometimes that they are real people. And they have these lives, and they are, they love New Jersey. They grow tomatoes.
Yes.
Like, that just to me is amazing to hear.
He would actually take some of his seeds from his tomatoes, dry them out, and he gave them to this Star Ledger reporter who I used to share an office with. And so I'd heard about these tomatoes. So when I finally got to go and see him and see his garden, and then that was always a great way to be able to talk. When you're waiting for an interview, sometimes you're trying to make small talk. And again, elected officials, they are people, but some of them are very hard to make connections to. Whenever I spoke with Jim McGreevey, I always, Jim Greavy was always, great to talk with. Harder to make a personal connection with him, but Jim Florio, you could talk about things that weren't government related, and it was sincere, and it was enjoyable. And again, so very gracious with his time, and so smart. There are times, again, as a reporter, sometimes you'll feel like, I don't really understand super fun legislation. And he never talked down. He would explain in common terms and things that were relatable. So as unrelatable as you might think certain elected officials are, there was a very relatable side to him. And I feel very, very honored that I was able to not only cover him, but able to have these conversations with him. And then some of my friends I've been speaking to, really had a lot of respect and nothing but positive things to say about his passion and the person that he was.
It seems like that way too across the aisle, not just for Democrats, but also Republicans too.
Yeah.
A lot of respect.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Laura Jones, thanks for sharing your insight. We appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
Well, since the pandemic began in 2020, New Jersey hotels have been required to change the sheets and the towels in the rooms every day, even if it was the same guest in the room for several nights.
Yeah, well, now a new bill in the state Senate is looking to overturn that regulation. State Senator Declan O'Scanlan introduced the bill. He's arguing that the rule doesn't make sense, as studies have found surface transmission to be insignificant to the spread of COVID-19.
Yeah, so State Restaurant and Hospitality Association President Dana Lancelotti said the current shortage of employees is also making the mandate difficult to enforce. You think about it back to the beginning. I mean, people were Lysoling their groceries before they brought them. We just didn't know. But, he's right. At this point, you're really not getting it from surfaces. It's truly airborne.
Right.
Save the water, save the soap.
It's wasteful.
It really is
wasteful, so it makes sense. Speaking of wiping down bags and bags in themselves, after 5 months, New Jersey's plastic bag ban now getting a second look from lawmakers.
Yeah, so the new law has led to several unintended consequences, including the over-distribution of reusable bags for online grocery orders.
Yeah, possible changes to the law could include a reusable bag exchange where shoppers could trade their extra bags in for cash. State Senator Bob Smith, who's also an environmentalist, he's also the co-sponsor of the original law, is also proposing to put a 5-year paper bag exemption for online grocery orders, allowing them to be delivered in paper bags until a better solution is created. People are also stealing carts and
little hand baskets.
Hand baskets from the
I'll tell you what, though, if you
stores.
have an abundance of the reusable bags, bring them to your local food pantry.
Yeah.
They really need them to distribute their foods and goods. So that's another good way to go about it if you really find yourself in a glut.
I do like the idea of a bag exchange.
I
though.
love that
Yeah.
idea. I think it reminds me of like the take a penny, leave a penny thing. Where, back when people paid for things in cash. We're that old. But
Back in the day.
Back in the day. But I think that's a great idea,
Yeah.
right? You got a load of them in your car. My mother must have 30 of them, truthfully. And
same.
it's like, just drop here's 15.
Here's some. And then the next person who forgets it all the time.
Yeah, they're there for you.
It's there for you, so you don't have to keep buying them and then it stacks up. But the food pantry's desperately needed too, so that's always an option.
Mm-hmm. We've got options. All right, so food service could soon be coming to a New Jersey brewery near you. So there's a new bill from State Senator James Beach. It would allow breweries, wineries, and distilleries to open their own on-site restaurant.
Yeah, Senator Beach says the bill would boost the local industry and provide a safer drinking experience. That bill comes after a recent lawsuit challenged a special ruling that prohibited craft breweries from selling food or holding more than 25 public events.
This whole brewery thing, it makes no sense.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Even as a customer, I'm like, why would you not let, but like, why are you going to let people drink and not give them something?
Options for food.
Yeah, to like soak it up
Soak
with.
it up.
And then why are you trying to put, a whole industry out of business, essentially?
Right. We're trying to help businesses get back on their feet because of the past 2 years. And now it's like with all these restrictions, it's making it even harder for these smaller businesses who are, we've been openly, trying to help. And now you're putting all these restrictions on. It makes no sense whatsoever.
So hopefully that one goes. I can't think of something that makes more sense than just like food and alcohol are meant to go together.
Done.
Serve
That's
them
it.
together.
Little bites. That's it. You don't have to have
it doesn't have to be a full blown. Unless you want to.
Yeah,
I'll be there. But
it doesn't have to be something grand. It could be just appetizers or something. But something to help increase the financial stability of these places that really desperately need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. All right, well, coming up, moving on. The annual 4-miler run walk event is helping a local hospital.
Plus, why police held a drill at the Navicent River Bridge in Red Bank. And of course, you can always find us on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Click follow.
2020 felt like a dark tunnel, and while 2020 is over, the impact is not. The pandemic affected both our physical and mental health.
We started the Cody Fund for Mental Health to change lives, so we want you to know about NJ211.
It's a referral service for anyone in crisis, even children.
I am living proof that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
And it's not a train, it's help. It's NJ211.
Right now, New Jersey's youth are dealing with a lot. Growing up today, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, but you're not alone. If you're worried about someone, reach out and point them to help if they need it. The New Jersey Department of Children and Families offers support to children and youth in crisis. Help is available by phone or text whenever you need it. Be there for a friend, and know where to turn for help. Suicide should never be the answer. Growing up can be hard. Getting help shouldn't be.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Let's check in on that weekend weather with meteorologist Mike Favetta. And Mike, it's looking like we might be seeing some hurricane remnants, tropical storm remnants. I don't want to get it wrong.
Some rain and wind, but the wind not necessarily due to the center of Ian. It's just butting up against the opposite weather system. So that little bit of a difference causes wind off of the water. That's going to give us a lot of clouds beginning this afternoon. The clouds last all day tomorrow, and then the rain will come in on Saturday. So it starts out to be a pretty wet weekend, and then likely just finishes very windy by Sunday. Most of the rain, however, should be over by the second half of the weekend. So while it is cool and dry for the rest of this afternoon, it feels very refreshing this morning and into the end of the day, nice and pleasant. It's actually that time of year where you start walking around the house and start getting the static electricity shocks again and go, fall is really here. October around the corner, and yet as we enter our peak of hurricane season, we typically get the remnants of these storms in the end of September and early October. After Ian makes that second landfall in the Carolinas, the storm disintegrates, but all of that leftover tropical moisture is there, and that's what arrives here later on this weekend. Now, you've heard about the storm surge, and we know that very well here in New Jersey, going through Sandy. But for those that, may need a quick refresher, it's all about how much water was above ground that's normally dry. So with so much rainfall that occurred, it wasn't, the 20 inches of rain that caused the flooding down along the coastline. It was that seawater that surged up on shore and allowed for record-setting levels. So downtown in Fort Myers, a place that I would equate to a small, say like a small Morristown area. It had like a couple city blocks. I visited there a few years ago, and yet it seems so inland that it wouldn't be affected, but because of the river that connects it to the Gulf, all of that seawater surged in and created a 7.2 foot storm surge. So impressive water levels in Naples as well. North of there, because the wind was blowing the opposite way from land out to sea, there was this negative storm surge or a reverse storm surge, and that's why you saw a lot of people heading out into Tampa Bay on foot because it was dry and all of that water receded out into the Gulf just due to the water blowing out to sea. So by the time we get to tomorrow, clouds increase. Temperatures remain cool throughout the afternoon, only in the 60s. We start off Saturday with some wet weather. There will likely be some embedded thunderstorms as that tropical moisture moves in, and then a few spot sprinkles, I think, for southern New Jersey on Sunday, but most of northern New Jersey stays dry as the winds pick up by the end of the weekend. We'll talk more about the 7-day forecast, where there's plenty of cool October weather on the way. As we wrap up September, it's coming up.
Yay.
I like it. Sweater weather.
Sweater.
Yep.
I know, but right now it's that kind of weather where you put a sweater on in the morning and then by 4 o'clock you regret it.
Yeah, you're like, it's layers. You need layers.
I'm sweating.
All right, Mikey, thanks so much. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Well, you may regret getting into the car this morning and driving anywhere. Don Smith is joining us now for a live look at the roads and rails. It's been a rough one again, Don.
It has, Kristina. Yeah, this whole week has been really busy. Monday, Tuesday were a little lighter because of Rosh Hashanah, but yesterday everyone seemed like they came back in full force, and that also continues into today. Good morning, Cara. Good morning, Mike. Let's get you over to our maps here this morning. I want to start off with New Jersey Transit to give our viewers a little bit of a heads up here this morning. Still about 20 minutes on the corridor, and I got a feeling that may last throughout most of the latter half of the morning because we had an earlier broken down train SEPTA train near Trenton, so that has really kind of messed up the morning commute on the corridor. Also, the Hudson-Bergen Light Rail, the 954 now, is canceled from Tunnelly Avenue over to the west side because of mechanical issues. Let's go to the incident list for our drivers and our audience now. We still have the big problems in Robbinsville as overturned dump trucks still being cleared on the turnpike, the truck lane south bound into 195 and 7A that's still being cleared. Also, another crash here south on the outer roadway, the truck lanes just before 8. I have a feeling that one may have been cleared because I didn't see any delays. Let's go towards our maps here this morning, and we'll kind of give you the visuals of the delay. It's been fairly consistent in the exact same spot here. Again, you do have the inner roadway, or the car lanes as they're normally called, south of 8. So just be careful if you're coming off of or getting onto the turnpike here in East Windsor off of Route 33. You may want to stay with 130 just to give yourself, no chance of anything having to be shut down. But really, that is maybe about a 10-minute backup getting into 195. Other than that, Parkway a little busy here in the Lakewood area, but the rest of South Jersey, we're fine along 206 and 70, 42, 55. So, if you want to head out and it's a little cool out there, to head for out to the beaches, out to the shore, I should say, Atlantic City, Cape May, things are fine on the Parkway this morning. It's here in North Jersey. We're still dealing with it's beginning to get a little better on the Parkway, but still a lot of congestion in the typical spots through Essex County and towards East Orange and Newark, and same thing along 280. This whole interchange here at 24 and 287 still fairly crowded and beginning to thin it out a little bit east on 80 into the Wayne area, but Route 4 doesn't look terrible. Western Spur is still a little heavy going north into 15W, then heavy here into 15E. Let's run down the bridges and tunnels. Again, we're still roughly almost about an hour, 45 to an hour at the George, about 45 to an hour at the Lincoln, about 20 to 25 at the Holland Tunnel. And just be aware, coming up at the top of the hour, North World Trade may see some delays on path because of the Hackensack River Bridge testing. That's what's happening here in the traffic center. Cara, Kristina, back to you.
Thanks so much, Don. All right, so the New Jersey State Police welcomed a new class of recruits to the training academy.
Yeah, over 150 new recruits arrived at the State Police Training Academy in Seagirt to begin 22 weeks of training.
The academy's program includes both mental and physical training to prepare the recruits for the skills the state police are looking for in their officers. The current group of recruits are the 164th class in the history of the academy. Good luck to them.
164 years. Wow.
Wow.
Speaking of police, the NJ Transit Police recently held an emergency drill at the Navicent River Bridge in Red Bank.
The drill was centered around a rescue scenario where emergency workers had to evacuate 100 victims from a commuter train.
Yeah, officials say the goal of the drill was to test response capabilities and strengthen the relationships needed in an actual emergency. That drill was held alongside of first responders, including officers and paramedics from Red Bank, Middletown, and the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office. This was a huge response. So for people who didn't know it was just a drill, it might have been a little
scary. Yeah, but it's so good to see them do it. It's like, it's a practice makes perfect thing,
right.
And you want to know that those guys are ready to rock.
And you can never be too prepared, I feel like, in those kind of cases, right? Like you want to know what to do.
Like that communication is key.
All
right, so we are really excited about our first guest today. Since it began in 2012, the annual 4-miler run-walk event has raised money for the St. Joe's Hospital Child Life Department in Paterson. The 11th annual run will take place this Saturday at Garrett Mountain in Woodland Park.
Yeah, joining us now to tell us a little bit more about the event and what it means is Kelsey Gitchell, the supervisor of St. Joseph's Child Life Program, and Stuart Berger, the partner and chairman of Sachs LLP. Thank you so much to both of you for coming on our show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. I appreciate it.
We're just waiting. Oh, there we go. I was like,
Morning.
Stuart, there he is.
There I am.
Welcome once again to both of you. So guys, what services does the Child Life Department provide with the money that's raised from this run?
Yes, absolutely. So our child life department, currently we have seven staff. We are 4 child life specialists. We have 1 music therapist and 2 recreation therapists. So we offer all of our services, which could be medical play, procedural support, music therapy. And then in addition to our staff, we also have animal assisted therapy. We have horticultural therapy. We also are able to use the funding from the SACS Walk every year to be able to make sure that when children are here and hospitalized with us, they're not missing out on the major life events that they would be at home. So we can celebrate birthdays, we can celebrate end of treatments when kids finish their chemo cycles. We have prizes for them if they have a difficult day and just need a little pick-me-up, and toys. We've had graduations here and proms. So really it goes a long way to be able to still provide for these kids while they're here with us.
Yeah, Kelsey's very modest of what her team does over at the hospital. It is just amazing. I was there pre-COVID in December of 2019, and what they did to decorate for the holidays, it was just amazing. It was over the top. Once you see it, you can't not appreciate their efforts, and we're so glad to participate and raises funds for them.
Yeah, I mean, every little bit counts, especially when, especially for kids who are going through such a horrible time with treatment and all that. Every little thing counts. So
Absolutely.
That's amazing. What can runners expect to find at this event?
Well, this is the event on Saturday. We expect almost 400 participants on Saturday morning up at Garrett Mountain, which is one of the hidden gems of New Jersey. So we have a 4 mile, we have a race, 4 milers. We have a walk for people that don't want to run. We have child walks for the kids, and it's just an amazing event. So we'll have over 400 participants, and we hope to raise over $100,000 for the cause.
That is incredible. So how has the run grown since it first began back in 2012?
Well, it was interesting. I thought about it when I first called up the foundation at St. Joe's and said we wanted to do something. I thought they thought I was crazy because they didn't know who the hell I was, but each year we've worked closely with the hospital, and it's grown each year. And we even had a virtual run in 2021, so we've kept it going. In 2020 actually, we kept it going even through COVID. So it's great, and it's our firm, our team members here are so excited to be able to participate. The hospital comes out, and and they have a team that runs, led by their chairman. It is just fantastic.
So how can people either sign up to participate or just contribute to the event?
They can go through midnight tonight to sacsllp.com/sacs4miler and either sign up. They can actually sign up on Saturday morning at the park where, I was listening to the weather forecast earlier, but we've never had rain before, so we hope to make through Saturday morning, and we hope your forecaster is wrong, that it will not start until after our race. So it's a great event.
Well, we'll see if we can get Mike to hold off that rain for a couple hours.
We can make
for
a
you
few
guys.
phone calls for you. Yeah.
Please do.
That would be great.
Yes, we'll see what we can do. Kelsey and Stuart, thank you both so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. Again, that is going to be the Sacs 4 miler this Saturday at Garrett Mountain. And again, Stuart, what's that website one more time for folks who want to sign up?
sacsllp.com/sacs4miler.
Excellent. Once
Amazing.
again, thank you both so much. Have a fantastic weekend. Good luck to everybody in the run, the walk this weekend. Thanks again.
And thank you for having us.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Well, coming up, it's every mall rat's dream. How you can live at the Garden State Plaza Mall. Kind of. We'll explain after the break.
Yeah, and you can always find us over on social media. Just search for NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Click that follow button.
Right now, families all across New Jersey are struggling with hunger, and their financial futures remain uncertain. You can be the hope for our hungry neighbors in need in a time when that need is still so great. The Community Food Bank of New Jersey, the state's largest anti-hunger, anti-poverty organization, is filling the emptiness caused by hunger with food, help, and hope. Go to cfbnj.org now to join us.
The New Jersey Hall of Fame is coming to you, celebrating our best and brightest, greeting guests along our Garden State Parkway through its 9 service areas, engaging travelers from our terminals to our transit centers, inspiring new generations as we move from town to town, and at New Jersey's hottest red carpet ceremony, inspiring New Jerseyans at our new home at American Dream. It's the New Jersey Hall of Fame, and it's where you want to be because everyone needs a hero.
Welcome back. Let's check in once again with meteorologist Mike Favetta and see what's ahead for New Jersey and if Ian is going to be having an impact on us. Mike? There you are.
Yeah, so those remnants, I think, Kristina and Cara, will look a little ominous. Gray skies on the way for tomorrow. And then when we get to Saturday, starts off a little wet and turns windy by Sunday. None of these are direct impacts of Ian. It's just the remnant rains that will be butt up against the little bit of some clear sky just off to our north. So there'll be a sharp cutoff as to who sees the clouds and who sees the rain, and especially that wind by Sunday. Throughout this evening, however, we've got a pleasant finish to the day. Very fall-like, very clear, with some high thin clouds returning by this evening. And you'll see those first in the southern part of the state as they eventually work their way north throughout tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures this evening at 6 o'clock, a chilly 64 degrees in Morristown. Same for you in Hoboken, even down toward Princeton and Long Branch, holding in the mid-60s. Warmest place, only 66 in Cherry Hill, so it'll stay cool going forward. And even on the 7-day forecast, the weather doesn't really get much warmer. We are in full-on October mode as we enter the first week of October. Saturday starts cloudy and rainy with some of those showers, and there could be a few downpours at times. And then the wind kicks up on Sunday, likely see gusts upwards of 30 or 35 miles per hour. Now, the winds will be out of the east, and typically when there's a prolonged wind out of the east, we're concerned for coastal flooding with that seawater inundation along the coastline. That's not too much of a concern this time around because we're in the quarter moon to half moon phase. So with tides running about average, likely shouldn't see too much inundation, and so the moon and the tides will not exacerbate any flooding that does occur due to those winds. By Monday and Tuesday, we turn dry and clear, and as those remnants work their way outward, I think we'll see full-on clearing by Wednesday. So a couple days of wet weather, but this is rain we need, considering how dry it's been. In fact, for tomorrow's show, be sure to join us because we'll have the latest with the drought update. There is still a drought going on here in New Jersey, and in some parts of the state it remains severe, so any bit of rain will certainly help as we go forward into this weekend. We'll talk more about that with another check of your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike. Bad news for the apple picking this weekend,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I'm a little bummed, honestly. All right, thanks, Mike. Let's bring in Don Smith for a check of your Jersey traffic. Hey, good morning, Don.
Hey, good morning, Cara, and good morning, Kristina. Yeah, it's been a fairly busy morning yet again across the Garden State. Let's go towards the maps, and this has been the top story here for the last couple of hours. It's been in Robbinsville along the Turnpike going south just before interchange 7A, and this is maybe about a half mile or so before 195. It's in the truck lanes. There was an earlier overturned dump truck that I just got reports has been cleared, but the guardrail has damage, so they're doing emergency construction in the left lane. So stay with the inner roadway or the car lanes instead. We'll get you past this really with no delays, or you could jump over to 130 coming out of East Windsor into Robbinsville will also be a nice ride. Again, it's beginning to settle down fairly nicely around the state. Again, we're here at 9:39 in the morning, so this is normally what we see. Through Brick, Parkway's eased out at 89, but Route 9 in Lakewood is fairly crowded this morning. Parkway through, Ocean County, Atlantic County, all the way down to Atlantic City is in the clear, all the way through Sea Isle City down to Cape May. Things are fine. Southwestern sections of the state are really not seeing much in the way of any kind of a backup at all. Little minor congestion on the 5542 interchange, but that's it. Through the Aljo curve, a little slow there. South on 295. Ben Franklin, Walt Whitman into Philly is good. 38, 38, I should say 73. And the rest of the turnpike in 295 is good. Let's make our way back here up to central Jersey, and let's focus in here along 287. Things are fine, even the Parkway. So again, it's beginning to settle down, all except for this 78 delay in either direction out through Jugtown Mountain between exit 7 through 11, doing that rock blasting with the lanes shut in either direction. That's there until about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Look for that. Also 24 and 287, that's going to be busy. And the Parkway is still fairly congested here and through the East Orange area. So is the Turnpike through Elizabeth from 13A into 14 this morning. And even 80 is still fairly busy out east out to Route 23. I'm checking the bridges and tunnels. On average, about 45 or so at the George, well over an hour at the Lincoln, 25 to 30 at the Holland. New Jersey Transit still up to 20-minute delays in the corridor from an earlier broken down SEPTA train near Trenton. That's been out there all morning. And we do have here on PATH the Hackensack River mandatory test lifting. I thought the page was going to come up, but that is going to go into effect at 10 o'clock on North to World Trade. That's what's happening here in the traffic center. Cara, Kristina, send it back to you.
All right, Don, thanks so much.
So we've talked before about the challenges facing adults living with disabilities, right? Well, organizations like Cohome are helping adults with disabilities live independently. And joining us now is the executive director of Cohome, Nathaniel Diskint. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks so much. Good morning.
Good morning. So how does Cohome help adults with disabilities create their own living situation?
Great question. So Cohome provides inclusive housing for adults with disabilities to live together with their neurotypical peers. So we're creating what we would call mainstream housing opportunities, so the least restrictive housing opportunity to meet someone's need and bring them together with their neurotypical peers to share in residential program as well as in social programs.
So Nathaniel, you said, there's also social programs involved. What kind of activities does Cohome offer their residents?
So for folks who live with us get about 4 days of programming per week. Right here you see an image from one of our shared meals. We cook together a family-style meal once a week. There's one of our Thursday activities we do in the evening. That was Co-Olympics at one of our homes. And we do maybe larger field trips, we'd call them. We call them out and about. This month, we're actually going to Medieval Times. Last month, we went to the Food Truck Festival in Livingston.
Oh, fun.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds like a good time. Obviously, these folks also need support services, right? What kind of support services are available to these residents if they need them?
Yeah, so all supportive services for our residents are one-to-one. A big issue we see in most disability-oriented housing is that folks with disabilities only have group staffing available to them. So we're asking adults to compromise, to say, hey, instead of me doing what I'd like to do this evening or cooking the meal I'd like to make, what does the group want to do? And we think that there's an issue with that. So all of our residents have access to individualized, person-centered staffing to meet their individual need.
That's incredible.
That
I was gonna say that's a lot. So how can potential residents sign up to live at Cohome?
Yeah, well, the first stop is our website, and that's www.cohome.org, and they can reach out to us by email at helpdesk@cohome.org.
Where can people who want to help out with Cohome find out more information? Is there a way to sort of volunteer as well to lend some help?
Absolutely. We have a lot of great volunteers come in to run a shared meal, to share something from their family cookbook with our housemates, to bring folks out into the community, to engage in one-to-one friendships with our folks. Again, I would ask folks to reach out either through our website or by that email, helpdesk@cohome.org.
Nathaniel, we appreciate you being here. Such an amazing organization. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us this morning and letting us know all about it.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks again. Man, all right, I got an email. I want to cook with them.
Yeah, that would be
I would
amazing.
love to do something like that.
That would be awesome.
I'm gonna be. You're hearing from me. All right, so this story is kind of cool. There's 550 new apartments, speaking of housing, coming to Westfield Garden State Plaza, the mall. The new housing will be part of phase 1 of a redevelopment project.
Will it be over the Macy's or the Nordstrom? The apartments are being built by Mill Creek Residential and will include commercial and recreational space, as well as a public transit center and electric car charging stations, as if that area were not busy
enough. Exactly.
Right?
I don't know if you've never been to the Garden State Plaza parking lot, like in December.
Oh, forget it.
It is my nightmare.
You don't go.
No.
You don't go anywhere near Route 4.
No.
Or anywhere near
17,
the mall
no.
on a Saturday. On a Sunday, it's closed, so you don't have to worry about it.
Bergen County still has their blue laws. But I don't know. I still think this, like when I first read this story, my inner 90s mall rat was like, oh, you could live in a mall?
You can get anti-ants forever. It's a disaster on a regular Saturday. I can't imagine with the amount of now more people who would be living there.
If they add a transit center, maybe that would help ease that a little bit. That might be a good thing.
Especially during the week, too, with the traffic.
With the commuting.
Just on Route 4.
Yeah, just to reduce that whole area.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see
what happens.
TBD. Coming up, speaking of which, we'll tell you about the Jersey dog that ended up on the runway at the New York Fashion Show. You got to see this.
Yeah, plus we're going to be checking in once again with meteorologist Mike Favetta, see how our weekend is shaping up.
And don't forget, you can always find us over on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
2020 felt like a dark tunnel, and while 2020 is over, the impact is not. The pandemic affected both our physical and mental health.
We started the Cody Fund for Mental Health to change lives, so we want you to know about NJ211.
It's a referral service for anyone in crisis, even children.
I'm living proof that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
And it's not a train, it's help. It's NJ211.
Right now, New Jersey's youth are dealing with a lot. Growing up today, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, but you're not alone. If you're worried about someone, reach out and point them to help if they need it. The New Jersey Department of Children and Families offers support to children and youth in crisis. Help is available by phone or text whenever you need it. Be there for a friend, and know where to turn for help. Suicide should never be the answer. Growing up can be hard. Getting help shouldn't be.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Meteorologist Mike Favetta is back with one more check of the weather, and he is tracking now Tropical Storm Ian, correct?
Now Tropical Storm Ian. Yeah, I think we'll just go with Ian from now on, just because you go from hurricane, tropical storm. I mean, considering it was a 1 mile per hour difference from a Cat 4 when it made landfall to being a Cat 5, this storm is just teetering on just being, notable in so many respects, and yet it's this small technicality of a little sneeze of a wind, if you will, that makes the difference. Our forecast brings back the wind throughout the end of the weekend. First, we get the rains from what's left of Ian, and then as those rains work out, likely see some breaks of sun on Sunday with some gusty breezes. There could be a few showers down across southern New Jersey. Monday is a clear day because that clear sky that kind of keeps Ian well off to our south and helps with southern New Jersey's rainy forecast will actually bring back some dry weather to the northern part of the state, but that all changes to rain by Tuesday. So starting off next week with a little bit of wet weather as Tuesday looks to be cool and damp. Notice there's no 70s on the 7-day. It stays rather chilly, just like October should. This is typical for October, starting the week off in the 60s and pretty much staying there, right even until the sunshine returns and we look forward to a dry midweek Wednesday. Sunny weather, 69 degrees. So a few days of wet weather, couple hours of gusty winds in there, up to about 30, 35 miles per hour, especially at the shore, since that wind comes off of the water on Sunday, and then we turn drier by midweek. So better weather days ahead after we get through a little bit of a damp period upcoming. Like you mentioned, weekend plans could be a little wet. However, Sunday isn't looking all that bad. It's just going to be blustery at those apple orchards.
Okay.
We need the rain, though. We do need the rain.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So
and it's going to be
all
muddy.
right.
So mud shoes are like the boots
Yeah,
and the
the
stuff you
boots.
can get really
The
muddy
rubber
if you're
boots.
going out.
Yeah. Maybe next week it'll be better.
Like that meme says, Han Solo season.
Yeah. I am that person.
I am that
The
person.
boots and the-
110%.
100%. The hoodie.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes. We're very basic right
Look
here.
Basic. All right. Thanks so much, Mike. Well, let's head over to Don Smith with another check of the traffic. Not so basic. It's been pretty rough the past couple weeks, really. Don?
Yeah, we're back to pre-pandemic levels. Might as well call it right now, right? Let's just say that we are back and back in full force. Let's get you over to the maps here this morning. We'll take a look at Fairfield. That's where we're going to start along Route 80 going east. There is some road work set up now in place just east of about exit 47 or so, 280 out through about exit 52 and Two Bridges Road. So you may want to stay with Route 46 here this morning. So again, that's out there until about 3 o'clock, and also do my little PSA as far as, cleaning out those storm drain, the sewer grates and things, maybe in your parking lot, if you live in a condo or apartment complex or on your street. A lot of landscaping still being done with the rain, the heavier rain coming this weekend, as Mike had said, just to maybe prevent some of that little quasi-localized flooding like in your own parking lot, just to kind of clear them out. Also, east on 80, the exit ramp here to Howard Boulevard and exit 30 in Mount Arlington, that's shut also until 3 with some construction, but we settle down fairly nicely along 280, 24, a little busy going east of 287 Parkway. Still a lot of congestion here. We haven't been able to shake out this delay coming up from Union through East Orange on in towards the Clifton area, and then eastbound Route 3 is still all banged up here, getting out to Route 21 and then west into the construction at 46. Turnpike still a bit of a mess getting out through Interchange 14. Parkway a little bit busy also in the Union area. Let's go down to Woodbridge and Piscataway, South Plainfield, Bridgewater. That is good, but it's out here in Hunterdon County. It's going to be both ways between exit 7 and 11 on Route 78. We have that rock blasting and construction through Jugtown Mountain. That's there until about 3 o'clock. And we do have this emergency construction along the turnpike. Here we go. This is on the truck side of things going south just before 7A. The left lane is still shut until further notice, and that's again for some emergency repairs. But the rest of South Jersey actually going to be in good shape on the Parkway 9 and the AC Expressway. Now, leaving New Jersey, still roughly 45 to an hour at the George, an hour at the Lincoln, 25 at the Holland, and still give yourself about 20 minutes here on the Northeast Corridor. We had some earlier problems with a broken down train, a SEPTA train near Trenton, and the Hackensack River test lifting gets started here in about less than 10 minutes on Newark to World Trade to 11, and then again between 1 and 2. It's happening once again. Very busy traffic center. Cara, Kristina, back to you.
Keeping you on your toes, Don. Thanks so much.
All right, well, each year, the Tree of Hope Award is presented by the Wellspring Center for Prevention to an organization that helps with addiction recovery. This year's Tree of Hope Award is being given tonight to Recovery Centers of America at Raritan Bay, a rehab facility in South Amboy.
Yeah, and joining us now to discuss the award is David Dorshu, the CEO of Recovery Centers of America at Raritan Bay. Congratulations on the award, and thanks so much for taking the time to come on our show today.
Good morning, and thank you. Today's a great day to talk about addiction recovery and providing hope for people who struggle with this disease.
I absolutely love it. So when did you find out that it was your facility that was going to be given the Tree of Hope Award?
The Tree of Hope Award is presented by an organization called Wellspring, which in Middlesex County provides drug and alcohol education and prevention services. So we found out about a month ago, and it's a great honor that I don't receive, for myself, but rather for my incredible staff. We get up every day. We go to work to help people, to provide hope, to provide love and compassion to people who struggle with drugs and alcohol. And I couldn't be more proud of my team.
Well, in addition to this award as well, your facility was recently named by Newsweek as one of the nation's best addiction treatment centers. What does it say, again, about your team to earn all of this recognition?
Well, we're very humbled by it. What we do, and I tell my team, what we do is very hard. Working with people who come in our doors who are broken and their addictions have destroyed many areas of their lives. And to provide that hope when they don't have any to provide for themselves, to walk them through a process that recovery is possible, that we do recover, and that they do have better tomorrows ahead of them. We know that in the state of New Jersey, 8.5 people in an average day overdose and die. And those are numbers that are just simply not acceptable to us. The mission of our organization is to help 1 million people gain meaningful and long-lasting recovery. That's what gets us out of bed every morning, and that's what drives us to help as many people as we can.
That's incredible.
David, yeah, we're looking at some of the pictures here. The facility itself looks beautiful. How does Recovery Centers of America help people with addiction issues? Because I know there's a couple of ways to approach these things.
We take what's referred to as a client-centered approach. When people come into treatment in our facility, they're coming in voluntarily. In other words, there's no judge saying to a patient, you have to get into RCA at Raritan Bay by close of business today, or we're throwing you in jail. It doesn't work that way. There might be 99 reasons why they don't want to come in, but one reason why they are. And we need to immediately connect with that one reason. And so what we hope is that motivation through the process of our clinical treatment turns from external to internal, where they realize that recovery is possible. I can build a better life, and I can restore trust with my family and loved ones.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, your facility offers specialized programs for all different kinds of people, including programs for military veterans, young adults even, and so on. So how does that customization help serve the patients better?
Well, when I came into the field many, many years ago, it was more of a one-size-fits-all approach. But in the year 2022, it can't be that way. People have different needs for treatment. As an example, you had a segment a few minutes ago about an emergency management drill where first responders participated. We have a program specifically for first responders because their treatment needs are a little bit unique and different maybe than some other patients. And so what we're doing is we're tailoring our treatment to those specific needs so that they can receive the best treatment possible that fits for them. We also have a Christian program, a faith-based program, which is one of the most popular programs in the facility, as well as you mentioned, separating male and female and younger and older adults as well.
Well, we appreciate the work you've been doing. It sounds like an amazing program, and congratulations on all of the recognition. Obviously, you're doing a lot of hard work for the community, and we just so appreciate you. Thanks for spending a few minutes and telling us about the program.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks again. I think it's so important for people who are struggling to know there's places to go, there's help out there, and there's people who love and support you.
It's just taking that first step too is really, and to know that there's a place like that will help is instrumental. For
absolutely,
sure.
Absolutely. So well deserved on that award once again.
We'll switch gears now, and something a little bit lighter. New Jersey's latest fashion model might not look the way you'd expect, probably because he's a dog.
Yeah, this is Teddy. He's a 3-year-old toy Maltipoo who participated in New York Fashion Week for the 2nd year in a row. His owner brought him to a show last year. The audience loved him so much, he initially became a VIP guest and then a model in the show.
I love it. Teddy also made an appearance on the red carpet, posing in front of almost 50 photographers. Kim Kardashian who? That is what I say. It's all about Teddy this year.
It's all about Teddy this year. And I'll tell you what, he's definitely the cutest one out there for sure. And I'm impressed because I'll tell you right now, if Roxy, my dog, was in front of all those flashing lights, I think she would just
bananas.
Lie down on the ground. Yeah, like there'd be zoomies. There would not be that
and
like
the glasses
chill. Yeah,
would be chewed.
She doesn't. She doesn't wear clothing. I'm not really sure how that all works.
Adorable.
But Teddy's rocking it. Good job, buddy. Little Jersey dog out there on that New York Fashion Week runway.
Love it. We love to leave you with a smile, so we'll leave it at that. Thanks for joining us this morning.
And we will see you right back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Thanks so much for joining us.